Once upon a time, there was a program that never had any bugs in it. It worked perfectly from start to finish with no problems in sight. If this sounds like a fairy tale, that's because it is. As JavaScript applications start getting bigger, your code needs to keep track of a lot of things, including application state. Application state is basically almost all of your data, server responses, cached data, as well as UI state, which tab is selected, do I need to show an alert, and so on. In short, this is state management. We're keeping track of all of this data that changes across our application. If we're not careful, we'll end up with a tangled mess of spaghetti code that we have no real control over. State management is very often the source of nasty bugs that can be hard to track down. For an example of application state, let's take a look at the mobile Twitter web client. It has to keep track of a lot of stuff, including the search term, the tweets in the feed, notifications, direct messages and their own notifications, the tweet currently being composed, as well as any uploads attached to that tweet. Some of those uploads might, for example, still be in progress, others may have failed, and so on. Keep in mind that this is merely the tip of the iceberg. Twitter does so much more than what we've just described, and we can already see that there's a lot of state that needs to be tracked. So now we kind of know that state management is pretty tricky to deal with. The next question would be, is there anything we can do to make it more predictable and reliable? There are many options out there in the wild, and one of those options is called Redux. That's what this course is all about. Redux is a JavaScript library that allows us to beat the state management monstrosity into submission. To follow along during the course, you'll be expected to have a working knowledge of JavaScript and HTML, as well as being familiar with React. However, keep in mind that Redux is framework agnostic and can be paired with any Vue library or framework, like Angular, Vue, and others. But in this course, we're going to use React. Most of the course will be focused on learning the Redux concepts through the development of one kind of big application. We focus on just Redux at the start to make sure we nail the basics. This means that we won't be doing any visual work for the first part of the course. Instead, we'll use a test-driven approach to learn the Redux API and how to use it. When we're confident with our Redux skills, we start working on the UI for the application using pre-built components. More so than a library, Redux is primarily a set of guiding principles to help us achieve application state nirvana, if you will. It gives us control and confidence over our code. Most of the Redux stuff we're going to learn is conceptual, and any code we'll write will be plain old JavaScript. The Redux library or code itself is mainly something that provides handy utilities for us to more easily write code in a Reduxy way. Let's take a moment to talk about when Redux is a good choice. When your application state is small enough that you can easily manage it within your Vue layer, like React for example, there is no need to needlessly complicate things by using Redux. However, if you start noticing your application state is getting too unwieldy to handle, that might be a good time to look at Redux. To be honest, there is no real guideline or a silver bullet to indicate when you should use Redux. But after this course, you'll be able to make an informed decision by yourself.